about to let y'all know how we rep the Cowboys out here in the DMV.
What up, Cowboys Nation? It's your boy DMV back with another one. We got DMV traffic with my boy Elton out in Vegas, man. Say what's up to the people, man.
What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Yeah, man. We couldn't wait for this all week, man. We've had a lot of news over this weekend, but we're going to start with Scott Linehan is fired, bro.
Yeah. I think it's been something I've been asking for probably about a year now.
We've been praying to the football gods for Scott Linehan to get fired, and we actually got our wish. So how do you feel about it, though? Like, do you feel like we made a mistake, or like, you know how sometimes you break up with that bad girlfriend, but then it's just like, well, wait a minute, you know?
Things actually wasn't so bad after all. No, actually, to me, how I feel is, I don't think, all in all, Linehan's a bad OC. I just don't think he fits to what we need to be, which is my problem. I don't think he actually more or less wanted to prove I am right, Dak is wrong, and I've said that many a times, especially with the play calling on the goal line. To me, it is no way Zeke should have 6 rushing touchdowns, especially when we got to the red zone a lot. To me, that's bad play call.
Absolutely, I'm with you there, brother. I absolutely agree, and you actually sparked the video of if Scott Linehan was sabotaging Dak. For those that are paying attention now, because that video is still getting hits like crazy, man. I don't even know why, because I shot that like 5 weeks ago, and people still hitting that joint up like he absolutely is sabotaging Dak, or he was. So I guess that was something that was in the minds of a lot of people, especially in the red zone, where I just felt like we force-fed Zeke on short yardage situations throughout his career, and we decide in the red zone that all of a sudden we don't want to do it. So evidently it was somebody proving a point, and guess what? Your man is out of a job. So we have an open vacancy right now, and right now it's looking like the leading guy is Kellen Moore as your OC, and Jon Kitna just committed to be the quarterback's coach. So it looks like they're going to hire within. How do you feel about that?
To me, I am 50-50 with it, because I don't know. Nobody knows what Kellen Moore will be as an OC. We don't know if he's going to be good. We don't know if he's going to be bad. So I can't say, oh, I'm mad. It's going to be more of the same. We don't know what he's going to bring. I mean, and if I look at the offense he played in college, it is pretty much what everybody wants us to do on offense. So actually, to me, I think he's going to bring some of that. I am going to wait and see. I am not going to kill the move, because what if he's Sean McVay? Maybe he's terrible. I don't know yet. So I am going to give him a chance to be good or bad before I kill the pick. I mean, to me, because, I mean, he is going to do probably a lot of what Jason Garrett wants to do. So I don't think we are going to become the Rams or the Chiefs overnight. But I think he's going to add a bunch of wrinkles. He actually seems to have a good rapport with Dak. Dak loves him, which also to me is important, because if you hire a coach QB doesn't like, it isn't going to work anyway.
Yeah, one could say that this was in the workings from Dak, because think about this, like you just brought up the point. They're looking to extend Dak, and we're looking at $22 to $25 million a year. So if you're going to extend your quarterback like that, you're not going to put your quarterback in the position where if you're giving him that much money, he ain't got no input at all. So I'm almost fairly certain that Dak had to probably go in that office and vouch for him, somewhat like he did not vouch for Des Bryant. You know what I mean?
Plus, everybody's like bringing a Todd Haley, but look at every QB Todd Haley's played with. They don't really like him.
Yeah, every time I see Todd Haley on the sideline, him and somebody's always in a damn getting close to a damn fist fight or something, you know?
So I'm like, this, you don't really want that. I mean, Todd Haley's a great OC. I won't take that, but he usually wears his welcome real quick. They be like, all right, get his ass up out of here.
How do you feel about Kitna as the quarterback coach? For me, I feel that the one thing I didn't know about Jon Kitna is his mechanics were good. Like, he was the type that his arm, I would say, he had an arm that he could cut it loose, but it got him in trouble a lot of the times, and that's why he wasn't as great of a quarterback as he could have been. Because sometimes I think that, you know, those quarterbacks, they say, well, I can make any throw at any time, and I think that Kitna was one of those guys. But how do you feel about him mentoring Dak?
I like it because when he was a backup quarterback in Cincinnati, he played that first year. But actually, when Carson Palmer took over, Carson Palmer loved him. He loved him. He loved everything. He actually taught him. Even damn Romo now says yes. When damn Jon Kitna was here, I actually loved him. He actually showed me the game a lot. He actually taught me a lot. So to me, it actually tells me he is communicating with the QBs. I have never heard a bad word about Jon Kitna, especially from the QBs he is mentored. And actually, you are talking about two actually French Hall of Fame quarterbacks who actually all vouch for Jon Kitna. So yeah, I'm fine with that move. I mean, it ain't the sexy pick, but every sexy pick don't work.
Yeah, that's a valid point, and I also look at it this way. I actually feel more comfortable with this situation of Kellen Moore being the OC and Kitna being the quarterback coach than I feel with bringing in the OC and still continuing to have Kellen Moore as your quarterback coach. Because I know that Kellen Moore, we probably weren't getting the most out of him, but how can he show Dak how to play quarterback if he had never really, if Dak beat him out? You get what I mean? Like, Dak had a stronger arm. Dak had more intangibles. Dak is pretty smart. I didn't know what he could really show him as a quarterback, per se, being that, you know, you're only limited to that individual position. As an OC, you got an opportunity to have some creativity, and that's one thing in Kellen Moore that I did know. At Boise State, you saw him. He was running the show as a quarterback there for a couple years. His time with us, you saw he was able to get guys in motion, get guys in certain places. He was running the offense. His ability didn't allow him to do the things that he was thinking in his mind, though. You know what I mean? We talked about that. So I feel comfortable with him being the OC, and ultimately we know that it's probably going to come down to Garrett calling the plays, if you ask me, because he hasn't gotten an extension yet. It's probably by design.
And because his job's on the line.
Yeah.
And I look at it with Kellen Moore. We don't really know what he did. So, I mean, he is quiet, so it is easy to say he didn't do nothing. I mean, because he wasn't demonstrative on the sideline. But I don't think that style works on Dak anyway. I don't think screaming at him is going to make him say, all right, I am going to be more accurate. I think Kellen and Dak work great. So, to me, I am going to give it a shot. If it works, I am happy. And if it's not, probably that whole offensive staff is going next year anyway.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I heard down at the Pro Bowl, I've actually seen pictures of Kellen Moore actually running the offense down there. So that pretty much lets you know, you heard it here first, or you maybe not here first, but Kellen Moore is going to be our offensive coordinator. So we may as well get used to it now, calling him offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, because if he's running the show down at the Pro Bowl, this is an audition right now, and it's the highest audition you can get at this point, being that you're still going to be coaching. You know, it's not at the whiteboard. It's actually out there implementing, even if it is vanilla offense, you know?
I think even Jason Garrett has to know the offense has to change. I mean, what we did worked from the 20 to 20, but then once we got in the red zone, it was like, Why aren't we in the shotgun from the damn 2?
Well, I'm going to ask you this because, see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter who comes in and calls plays because we had Callahan, we had Garrett, we had Linehan. But they're still the same concept, still the same plays. So, do you believe that some of our ineptitude has to do with some of the diagramming of Jason Garrett's plays and how old-fashioned they are?
I think maybe, but I think sometimes, and I've said it to you over the years, we have the type of play calling. They don't really care that it's predictable because actually they believe my man is going to beat your man. And after a while, to me, especially this past year, that becomes difficult every week to always win a one-on-one battle. And
but it's crazy because it's not necessarily one-on-one battles because teams are cheating. It's not like they saying, oh, okay, we're going to line up in base formation and allow you to just kick our ass. They putting linebackers in gaps and, you know, they bringing in an extra man in the box. Like, they not playing fair. So why the hell are we still, hey, we're gonna beat our man. One man's going to beat two men. You know what I mean?
As I've always said, even when I was criticizing Dez in the 2017 season, I always said we aren't getting him easy catches. He damn literally has to be perfect every play. Dak has to throw in a perfect window every play. You can't win like that in the NFL. If you look at New England, the Rams, the damn Chiefs, they will get you wide open. That never happens for us because all the plays are designed for you to have to win one-on-one.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you this question. We're just going to keep it real simple so we can move along. Is Jason Garrett on the hot seat in your eyes?
Honestly, in my eyes, no, because I look at the situation a lot different than most people, but I don't think he is. I am one of the few who thinks he's probably the best person for this team.
Whoa. Big words. Why do you think he's the best person for this team?
Just give me a minute, let me work. If you from the damn time in 2011 when actually he became the full-time head coach, nobody in Dallas Cowboys in the damn organization will ever say this, but that was the start of a rebuilding process. Tyron Smith is the first pick of the Cowboys rebuilding process. If you look at it, because that season is when they finally got rid of Gerard, Colombo, Zell Adams, Kyle Kozier, everybody that was that Wade Phillips regime on the offensive line. It is because that was Terrence Newman's last year. So all those Parcells, Wade Phillips pick, he actually got rid of him and actually said, "Let me start over." They actually went 8-8. Probably his biggest mistake that season was calling that timeout versus Arizona, where we had won the game, but he had froze the kicker.
Yeah, he got a bad rap for that. And the funny thing is, when you're a Cowboy and you do something, you mess up, you get known for that for the rest of your life. Like, how many times do we have to see your man Leon Lett fall in that, or try and kick that damn football in the snow?
Exactly, and because you look at that draft class, really only Tyron Smith's around. Then the next draft class was the Morris Claiborne. Well, if you look at the roster, we actually still had Anthony Spencer, DeMarcus Ware. It is still that old regime, but that actually was more of the bust draft class of Jason Garrett and Tyler tenure. And we rolled into 2013, which is the most criticized draft class, but it is probably one of the most productive because he gave you Travis Frederick, Terrence Williams, you had Lance Dunbar. That was when he started his nucleus, and that was really the last 8-8 season, but that is the last season with all the old regime of the Marcus Ware, Anthony Smith, all those guys.
Yeah, now he got Skandrick out of there because Skandrick wasn't part of his regime either. Now we're the youngest team in the league, so obviously these are all homegrown Garrett guys. So you got a very valid point with that.
Because remember after the third 8-8 season, everybody's saying it is time for Garrett to go. But then we get to 2014 when his draft class is really starting to pay off with Zach Martin and everybody 12-4. We all know what happens that season. I don't even want to talk about it. Then his only really bad season, if you look at it, was 2015 when everybody and their mama got hurt. Romo comes in, he breaks his collarbone twice. Bez breaks his foot. We got Joseph Randle still in boxes out of it. But even with that is the season I probably respect them more than anything. Because even at 4-12, they was in every game. They actually just didn't have the quarterback or the running back to win games.
Yeah, and it's crazy because as much as I can't really stand him at times, I think that he can be so stubborn and in his own ways. They play hard for him, and that's really what you ask for in a head coach. Now, this is where I'm a little bit murky on him, where I kind of asked the question, do you trust hiring within as far as our organization? Because nobody in the organization as far as a coach, they brought in on the defensive side of the ball people who have won hardware. Chris Richard is one hardware. Rod Marinelli is one hardware. So those guys in the defense has turned around. But offensively, within, nobody on that side has won anything as a coach. And we keep hiring those guys. And look at the offense when, it got better, but within, we're not really going outside of the norm like we're doing with defense. Because defensively, he's not a defensive guy. He's going to hire somebody he knows is going to get the job done. Offensively, it's like they're hiring guys that they like. Would you say that that's fair?
Yeah. I think they are hiring guys they can work with. Because if you look at that, if anybody watched the All or Nothing series, all them guys who Jason Garrett really didn't like in those meeting rooms,
they started disappearing.
They got their ass up out of there. Like, okay. Because he actually gave one of the looks when they was having a talk like, wait a minute, I'm not a head coach here? Okay.
Yeah, the line coach, Eberflus, you started seeing Eberflus disappearing. Derek Dooley, the wide receiver coach, he was up out of there. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. And you started seeing, you got a good point there. So, but with that being said, I just think on the defensive side of the ball, them going out and getting guys off of merit, why can't we flip it on that side of the offensive side of the ball? Because we just had a Final Four of guys that just played, and we're going to touch on past weekend's games. But why do we not allow anybody from outside to really interview for this OC job?
I think, honestly, the Cowboys' job, to me, which I think with a lot of coaches, especially on offense, it actually comes with too much scrutiny. Who actually really cared about Scott Linehan 4 years ago? But Scott Linehan's talked about every week. It don't matter what you do, perfect. It doesn't matter if you mess up once. That is all you're gonna hear about to the damn next week's game.
That's a good point.
It's probably hard to come in and really want to coach for the Cowboys, to me, unless you were ready to just say, I don't really care what they say. Sort of like Rod Marinelli, if you listen to him after the game, he's like, I am going to be back. We are going to fix what was wrong, and damn, let's go. On damn offense, they're like, I don't know, which is why I think is one of our topics, but we'll get into that later. But I just think it is hard for offensive coaches to want to come in because they know the scrutiny.
Okay, so it's a perfect segue. So Cole Beasley had a lot to say pretty much about his utilization in the offense, about how the front office dictates who gets the ball. He was pretty much talking about how money wasn't a big issue for him, and I'm just paraphrasing. Money wasn't a big issue for him. He just wants to be used. He wants to ball out. So how do you feel about Cole's tweets, and do they sound very similar to a lot of guys that have left here, especially receivers?
Yeah, it do. And I didn't really disagree with what he said, because it was plenty times I'm thinking, Cole Beasley's open. Why aren't we getting him the ball? Especially after Amari came in. I'm like this. They actually can't bracket cover them anymore. And it was like when we got him the ball, the offense moved more efficient. But to me, I think it was play design. Personally, I mean, I think his issues are more or less different than Dez's, but it is pretty much the same language.
Yeah, I think that Cole, I think we could have utilized him more in motions and in different formations. I think that we made it too easy for defenses to identify where he is, where he's the type of guy that you want to get in a mismatch. You get like the year prior, teams were able to double Cole Beasley and Witten, and they were one-on-one with Dez on the outside and putting Dez in a situation where Dez they weren't high percentage routes to Dez, so teams could live with it. I think that's what Cole Beasley was talking about. But at the same time, Chris Carter brought up a very good point about how much do you really think you should be getting the ball? Like, you had the biggest opportunity when there was no Dez, and you were pretty much the number one receiver, and we had to go out and we had to give up a number one pick to bring Amari in here. Like, so I understand what you're saying with Scott Linehan and the creativity and stuff like that, but he had more opportunity probably than he had his whole career to show that he really was that guy. You know what I mean? To me, because I actually cried about the red zone plays, but especially for him, if you look, it actually is one route he always run. He actually rarely ran it, but he was always open 100% of the time. It was the little option. And then whip route?
Yeah. It was like they would never throw it. But whenever they did, he's usually wide ass open.
Well, they did one game. I forget it was, and he dropped the damn ball. I think it was Atlanta.
Game.
Huh?
Yeah, he damn dropped it in the Falcons game, but who cares?
Yeah, you right. You right. You're absolutely right. So, I mean, I think that it's funny, and it's probably from a wide receiver standpoint. These guys know that they can win matchups, but it's just like defenses know exactly where they're going to be. And that's kind of what I took out of his tweets. I didn't really take it as diva as much as it is everybody saying the same damn thing every time they're getting ready to leave or they're having an issue with Scott Linehan.
Yeah.
So,
to me, because how many times are you going to run a hitch to Amari? He ain't going to break an 80-yard one every time.
I agree. And damn, Amari said that. How much do you think Amari had to do with Scott Linehan being gone?
Okay, I can definitely tell he wanted them gone.
Wow. So I'm gonna end. We're gonna end it with we're gonna talk about this past weekend's games. Man, they were two really good games, and we know the outcomes. The Patriots, they beat the Chiefs in the overtime game, which was a barn burner, and then the Rams beat the Saints in a close one, which is very controversial. But my question is, what can we take from that Final Four in order to get us over the hump and get in the situation where they were? What would it take for us what tweaks to our team could we take from them and make us better so that we're in the championship game?
To me, and when you sent me that, it actually made me smirk, because I don't think talent-wise, any of them four are that much better than me. To me, it's more of a headset thing, especially on offense. And even though last week I said all the personnel changes need to be on defense, which I still believe, but I think headset-wise, offense, it is where we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We have too much talent on damn offense for it to be stagnant.
I agree. I like to call it constipated because it looks like we're struggling to just. I mean, like, you look at New England and it's crazy because I looked at Romo throughout that game and Romo was diagramming plays before they even did it, and it was like we keep talking about predictability, but the Patriots obviously are predictable. Romo can sit there and tell you everything they're going to do, but they go out and execute it. They put the right guys in opportunities. Like, okay, if they're going to double Gronk here, they're going to go to Edelman on the inside. You get what I'm saying? Like, they had combinations that you knew were going to happen, and you couldn't stop it anyway.
Because how many times on third down where they would put Edelman in the slot, then all of a sudden he'll run across the middle and be wide open. When you know who's getting the ball, but the route concept puts him wide open. We don't do that.
Agreed.
You gave Tom Brady an easy throw, and people can talk about Dak accuracy all they want, but Dak usually makes those type of throws. He isn't accurate throwing deep, but nobody is. I don't care. Nobody's accurate throwing deep. You actually just better hope that man beats him, and then it happens. But those intermediate throws, he's usually great at throwing accurate. So, and then to me, they actually do great with pick plays in New England. They always get somebody open. Not us. You is gonna have to beat your man and then get open. And then today's NFL, that is impossible. Every damn play to constantly win.
Absolutely. I think that they utilize their tight ends in those pick concepts as well, and we don't. For some reason, we feel that even with mediocre tight ends, mediocre to okay tight ends, they have to go out there and win their one-on-ones, and we're just like, well, New England's not even doing that at this point with the Gronk that we're looking at.
Because if you look at what the Rams did to us, most of the time they were sending Robert Woods and damn motion, and damn he was cracking on the DN, and they had swallowed up the DTs, and damn Gurley or damn CJ Anderson was running through wide open gaps.
Yeah, they were perfectly diagrammed plays. It was just nuts, man. Like the way that the Rams, and like you said, a headset type of thing, or maybe a whiteboard, the way that they were able to give you misdirection, but also have a tight end come in and block backside on a play action or backside on the zone. It was beautiful to watch, man. Like, it was just like it was probably drawn up. So I definitely agree with that. And on that note, man, we're gonna close it out, man. So you got anything you want to say to the people before you go?
I was hoping we actually hit on that Tony Romo.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Tony Romo received some offers for coaching.
To me, that was my biggest thing I wanted to talk about. Everybody's in love with Romo, how he's calling plays out. But honestly, if he came back to coach Dallas, and say that first season he went 4-12, people would lose their damn minds and say, see, he's a damn choker.
Wait, as a head coach or an OC? Because I mean, obviously you can't just come in and be a... Huh?
He isn't coming back to be an OC. He is making too much money with CBS to come back to be the OC. And
I can't see Romo as a head coach, bro. I couldn't see him as a head coach because I don't know if Romo has the gall enough to be a head coach. I do know he could be a great offensive coordinator. Hell, he was an offensive coordinator when he was with us. Apparently, he was running all the meetings. He was doing all the whiteboards. He was game planning. And I can honestly say the one thing that I did hang my hat on with Romo is Romo would make adjustments during the game, and you could tell that they were Romo adjustments. We don't make the same adjustments now. Not saying that Dak can't make them, but
I don't even think he's giving that option.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And you can tell the difference in who was calling the plays.
Because I was saying that to you probably last year. They made Scott Linehan, to me, made the conscious decision to tell Dak, for wherever the good or bad, we don't want you to do what Romo did. Because they felt Romo was high risk and high reward. So they just want Dak to make the right football play and then live to another day. And for the most part, it works. But sometimes you need that high risk. To me, they actually put in his head, hey, we don't want you throwing in the triple coverage,
or we don't want you to run when you don't have anything, even though you do a pretty good job of getting down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty neat topic, and everybody feel free to chime in, man. But I appreciate Elton for coming out tonight, man. Wednesday nights, we're gonna make this thing fire, and appreciate you guys for tuning in. My man Bolo, he put in some work, and we're gonna have some fire instrumentals on this thing. You probably hearing them in the background right now. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. And until next week,
yep,
peace.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
JG about to let y'all know how we rep the Cowboys out here in the DMV.